Apyayantu mamangani pakprana shakshu shrutramato balamendriyani cha sarvani sarvam brahmopanishadam maham brahma nirakuryam mama brahma nirakarut anirakaranamastu anirakaranam me astu tadatmani nirateya upanishadsu brahma te mai santu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May quietness descend upon my limbs, my speech, my breath, my eyes, my ears. May all my senses wax clear and strong. May Brahman show himself unto me. May I never deny Brahman nor Brahman me. I with him and he with me. May we abide always together. May there be revealed to me who am devoted to Brahman, the holy truth of the Upanishads. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. This morning our subject is Stories of Vedanta Monks, part 34. As you know, it is a series of lectures based on the second generation monks of the Ramakrishna order. Who are those second generation monks? Sri Ramakrishna's disciples. Sri Ramakrishna's disciples are the first generation, and next generation his disciples. They are trained by the disciples of Ramakrishna. So we are going to talk about them and how they saw the blazing fire of spirituality of Ramakrishna in the disciples. That is the topic, that is the subject. And you can learn many things from them. Swami Chetanananda was a great evangelist and great scholar, met Sri Ramakrishna. He wrote a book, Bhakti and Bhakta. In that book, he quoted Sridhar Swami's commentary on the Gita. Vairagyena vina jnanam naja bhakti ataha sputam. Without dispassion, detachment, one cannot have knowledge or devotion. And that dispassion, detachment or renunciation come after we finish all of our enjoyments in this world. When we become disgusted, then we give up. Until we get disgusted with the world, we shall never give up. So he mentioned, and then comes our minds turn toward God. That is the way it works. Preya, Shreya. Preya means pleasant, pleasures in this world, and Shreya means devotion or knowledge of God. So until you finish this one, you cannot have the other. Abhudita Gita says, Mukti michhati me chet tato vishayan vishavat taja. If you really want liberation, you will have to give up this sense enjoyment like poison. Very few people in this world want God. Krishna mentioned in the Gita, Manushyanam sahasreshu kasyid jatat siddhai jatatam api siddhanam kasyin man vetti tattvataha. Among millions of people, only few people come to a spiritual life. And among those also, only few succeed. Very few people want God. Swami Chetanananda told a very beautiful story. Somebody asked him, you are embodiment of love and devotion. Why don't you talk about devotion, love for God? Swami told the audience, I don't see anybody here who is fit, capable to listen to talk about God. Listen to have devotion. When they one day, I don't find anybody here. Then he told a story that one hawker was selling love and devotion in the market. So he was saying, hello, who wants to buy love and devotion? Who wants to buy love and devotion? So somebody opened the door, ferry, hawker on the street. How much is the price of your devotion? No, it is priceless. Tell me, how can I get it? You'll have to give your head. In this way, he went door to door. Nobody wants to give their head to God. So he said, who wants devotion? Who wants love for God? Some people want both, God and the world. Just like hot ice cream. Some part of the ice cream is very hot, some people is cold. Sri Ramakrishna teased his devotee, our Jadunath Pollik. Jadu, you really have tremendous love for money. And also you have some love for God. You are like the stone image of Ramjibanpur, which has one aspect, half of that emblem is hot, another is cold. That is a funny expression Sri Ramakrishna mentioned. There is a famous saying, Jab mai tha tab hari nahi, jab hari tha tab mai nahi, prema goli oti sa kori. When you say God, there is no world. And when there is a world, there is no God. A God and world never go in the same path. And the day and night never stay together. When light comes, darkness goes away. When darkness comes, light goes away. But we want both. And it's an amazing thing in our life. Love is the force, guiding force in human life. Love for the world thinks a man worldly, and again love for God makes a person spiritual. You see, love, devotion, passion, attachment, they have tremendous force, really, tremendous power. It is for the sake of love for the child, mother forbears so much pain, agony. Father earns money out of love. I must provide money for my wife and children, and family. If you see that your every movement is moving toward love. We love our bodies. How much time, money we spend for money. We don't want to die. We love this body. That is the reason Sri Ramakrishna said, these three attractions, love for the mother, for the child, love of the mother for the child, love of the spiritual, love of the shoti, meaning chaste wife for her husband, and love for a miserly person for money. If you can connect these three attractions, you will definitely see God. Ramakrishna said that. Your love for God, love for holy person, love for scriptures, love for your spiritual pursuit will bring peace and bliss in your life, and vice versa. If you have love for the world, love for enjoyment, you will make you worldly. We shall get suffering, pain, misery, worries, anxieties. Love for the world in the beginning very sweet, but afterwards very painful. Similarly, spiritual life in the very beginning it is very, very painful, but afterwards it is full of peace and joy. Worldly love makes the mind impure, and love for God makes the mind pure. That is the reason I asked people, in your home please give a little room, space for your shrine. Have very good pictures, nice, beautiful spiritual sceneries, your books, your scriptures, all should be in the shrine. You have fancy, big rooms, family rooms, dining rooms, living rooms, room after room. But you should have a separate room for God, where you can take rest, where you can disconnect yourself from the world. If you do not have a separate room, give a little corner of your room. If there is no corner, give a little wall space. Bring God to your home. As I always say, Vedanta is not only Sanja religion. That you go to the church Sanja, that's it. Religion in every life, in every moment of life. When we see those beautiful pictures of Ramakrishna, Jesus, Buddha, we get that kind of vibration. And if Sri Ram, Holy Sri Ram, Shastri Ramakrishna says, if you have the picture of the Queen Victoria or baseball players, they will get that kind of vibration. If you really want a spiritual vibration, decorate your house accordingly. Love has definitely love is a tremendous force. Just for the sake of the country, the army, soldiers, they give their lives in the battlefield. They love their country. Love is the guiding force. As Swamiji says, if you see a Majar is martyring a person, he is doing out of love. He knows if I can kill this man, I shall get money, and that I have wife, children, perhaps I shall take care of them. Love is the guiding force. Anyhow, now I shall start my topic. Prachin Sadhudir Katha, Stories of the Vedanta Monks, Part 2, page 247. This is the, I think 2-3 years ago I went to New York. So Sarva Priyananda gave me some of the diaries of Bodhanandaji, who was a disciple of Swami Vivekananda and head of the Vedanta Society of New York from 1908 to 1950. In his diary, I found some beautiful reminiscences. Some I told you in the last time on Holy Mother. Today I shall tell you about Swami Vivekananda, his monastic guru. I shall sum up some of his reminiscences. He said in 1890, he came to Baranagar Math. At that time, Swamiji was not there. Swamiji was traveling in India. So he got acquainted with some of the disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, especially Swami Chetanananda, who was managing the center at that time. But this Swami was a student of Beauvajan Metropolitan School, where Swamiji was the headmaster for 3 months. So he saw Swamiji, but he never met him personally. Then Swamiji returned from America in 1897. At that time, he went to visit Swamiji in Alambazar Monastery. And he said that Swamiji wanted to go to Dakshineshwar to attend the Ramakrishna festival, birthday ceremony. Well, I went with Swamiji's carriage. He still remembers. But Swamiji, seeing that vast crowd, no microphone, Swamiji tried to speak but could not speak, which is not possible. The people are so many and there is so much noise he could not speak. But the Swami was initiated by Holy Mother, got mantra from Holy Mother, but monastic vows from Swamiji. In 1899 May, Swamiji initiated me into sannyasa. Then he gave some beautiful information that second time when Swamiji was coming back to America, it was 20th June 1899. Swamiji was coming down from his room. He looked at he very beautifully mentioned. Swamiji was coming down over the steps and all monks, they are also following him. Then he stopped and looked back and said, "Let me tell you one thing. He never think yourself that you are weak. Tumi durbal huyo na." Then he quoted that verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Klebyam masmagama partha naitatva upapaidate kshudram hridaya durbullam tyakta tishta parantapa. Krishna said to Arjuna, Arjuna, never yield to this unmanliness. It does not befit you. Give up this faint-heartedness. Stand up and fight. Never make yourself weak. Infinite strength of the Atman is within you. Manifest it. That is the way Swamiji defined religion. Religion is the manifestation of divinity, already in human beings. And he mentioned, watch 2 things. He told the monks, purity of heart and obedience to the order. These 2 things are vital for the monastic order. Then on the 19th June, there was a Bhandara, feast in honor of Swamiji and Turiyananda and Sister Nivedita. These 3 persons came together. On that day, Swamiji gave a brief talk. Swami recorded that brief talk to the monks. I shall read it to you. It is in complete verse, volume 3. Very powerful message. The title is Sannyasa, its Ideal and Practice. Swamiji's message was recorded in Moth Diary, 19 June 1899. This is not the time for a long lecture, but I shall speak to you in brief about a few things which I should like you to carry into practice. First, we have to understand the ideal, and then the methods by which we can make it practical. Let all of our actions, eating, drinking, everything that we do, tend towards the sacrifice of ourselves. You nourish your body by eating. What good is there in doing that if you do not hold it as a sacrifice to the well-being of others? You nourish your mind by reading books. There is no good in doing that unless you hold it also as a sacrifice to the whole world. For the whole world is one. You are rated a very insignificant part of it, and therefore it is right for you that you should serve your millions of brothers rather than aggrandize this little self. Then he quoted from the Gita. I love this verse. Sarvata panipadam tat sarvata vokshi shiromukam sarvata shrutimam loki sarvam avrita tishtati. It is in the 13th chapter of the Gita. With hands and feet everywhere, with eyes, heads and mouths everywhere, with ears everywhere in the universe that exists pervading all. Swamiji was talking about the cosmic God. So all of our eyes, all of our hands, all of our heads, all belong to God. So serving human beings, you are serving God. That's what Swamiji wanted to say. Thus you must die in a gradual death. In such a death is heaven. All good is stored therein, and in its opposite is all that is diabolical and evil. Sometimes I tell people, if you work, you will die, and if you do not work, you will die. You better work for the Lord. Then as to the methods of carrying the ideals into practical life, first we have to understand what we not have that any impossible ideal. An ideal which is too high makes a nation weak and degraded. This happened after the Buddhistic and the Jain reforms. On the other hand, too much practicality is also wrong. If you have not even a little imagination, if you have no ideal to guide you, you are simply a brute. So we must not lower our ideal, neither are we to lose sight of practicality. We must avoid the two extremes. In our country, the old idea is to sit in a cave and meditate and die. To go ahead of others in salvation is wrong. One must learn sooner or later that one cannot get salvation if one does not try to seek the salvation of his brothers. You must try to combine in your life immense idealism and immense practicality. You must be prepared to go into deep meditation now. And next moment, you must be ready to go and cultivate these spirits. Swamiji said, pointing to the meadow of the monastery, you must be prepared to explain the difficult intricacy of the scriptures now, and next moment to go and sell the produce of the fields in the market. You must be prepared for all menial services, not only here, but elsewhere also. In the way Swamiji went on, and lastly, he was talking about man-making religion. So you must have a deep regard for the Sangha, for the order. There is no place for disobedience here. No disobedient members here. You must turn them out. There must not be any traitors in the camp. You must be as free as the air and as obedient as this plant and dog. Anyhow, Swamiji gave a very beautiful pep talk to the monks before he left. You see, in the very beginning, Vedanta monks are very free. But individual freedom is vital. We have tremendous freedom. But one person, if you are free and you want to go in your own way, you cannot produce a great thing. If you want to do something great, you need an organization. People see the activities and the greatness of the Ramakrishna Order. There are 1800 monks. Everybody is contributing something to the order. That is the reason this order looks great. And these people are completely dedicated, learned. They gave their lives, their everything for the sake of Sri Ramakrishna. That is the reason this order is very vibrant. That's what Swamiji wanted to say. Swamiji quoted two verses in that talk from the Niti Shatakam. Some people may criticize you, some people may praise you. You might have lot of money, or you might not have money at all. You may die today, or you may not die tomorrow, or you may die tomorrow. But the true human beings, Manushi, a man of character, will never deviate from the path of righteousness. Your mind, your speech, your body should be full of spirituality. And all of your focus should be spent, should move towards the good of humanity. Moreover, try to magnify anybody's little goodness like mountain. That shows that you have a gigantic heart. Such kind of people are very few in this world. It is in Niti Shatakam by Bhartrihari. Swamiji came back in 1900 from the West to India. Then in 1902, in February, Swamiji went to in Benares, and Swami Bodhananda was then in the Himalayas. He came to see Swamiji. Though Swamiji was eating his lunch, the Swami said, Maharaj, you are eating this kind of fish. I saw this kind of fish in Konkhal, in Hardwar, in the mountains, some kind of fish. They are, people do not eat fish in that area. Anyhow, so I had a desire to give this fish to you, seeing that fish in the Ganges. But I see that that fish you were eating here. Then Swamiji said, you know, there is a power of human willpower. If your power is very strong, that will be fulfilled. Look, you had a desire for that, and that desire has been fulfilled in Benares. Don't keep that kind of desire anymore. Then the Maharaja of Benares came to see Swamiji and asked, Maharaj, Swamiji, I shall give you money. Start a Vedanta center in Benares. Swamiji agreed. He asked Swami Bodhananda, why don't you take charge of this place? Maharaj, in Benares, there are so many great scholars, so many schools. What is the necessity? I feel very insignificant in this connection. Swamiji said, look, whatever you studied, whatever you know, that you tell to the people. That is enough. You are not going to compete with scholars. Swamiji now is a very positive person. We never find a negative statement from him. Always positive. Then, of course, Swami Shivananda came and just started the Benares ashrama. In 1902, in March, Swamiji was not well, so the Ayurvedic doctor asked him to take only milk, no water. He has some diabetes and is some kind of swelling in his body. So he says, no water, but he can drink milk. So Swamiji was laughing and told Swami Niranjananda, hey, no, this doctor is stupid. He does not know that 90% of the milk is water. All right, he asked me to drink milk, I shall drink. That is okay. Very funny. And Swami Niranjananda told the doctor also what Swamiji said. Then another monk in the monastery, they are in a jovial mood. Swami Chetanananda came and said, Swamiji, I saw a frog in that pond is sneezing. Swamiji said, Nityananda, this is Kali Yuga. The frog is sneezing. When the frog lives near the water, so he got cold. Sri Ramakrishna made another funny statement. He said, you know, he told Ramchandra Datta, a God's way is inscrutable. It is hard to understand what is in his mind. Look, coconut grows on the top of the tree, all the time gets sunshine, but if you drink coconut water, it is very soothing in the body. And the water chestnut which grows under the water, if you eat them, it is a hot effect on the human body. Then he said, you see, the blacksmith, he is pulling the bellows, sitting near the fire all the time, he gets cold. And here is a diver, goes under the water, his body is heat, he is drinking some soft drink or cold drink. So, you see, this world is very different. There was one devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, and his name is Bhai Bhupati. So there was another little strange monk, his name was Swami Jnanananda, Dakkha Maharaj. He was a little crazy. So Swamiji said, Brother Bhupati, this Daksha is sometimes is very uncontrollable. Could you tell him something? Of course, Swamiji, I can go and tell him. Hey, what kind of madness do you want? You are mad only one generation. My 14 generations are mad. You cannot compete with me. And Swamiji listened to their talk and he was laughing. Swamiji was very humorous. He made the monastery lively. You know, most of the disciples found when Swamiji was in the Belur Math, it is very spirituality is bubbling up. Joy, happiness, peace. And when he leaves Belur Math, again it becomes a little dark. How human beings can change atmosphere of the place and the people. Amazing. That atmosphere we must create in our house, through our study, through our meditation, through our prayer. Another story, I think I might have told you many times. In 1992, I was in Paris. I went to give a lecture I went to conduct a retreat in Amsterdam. Then I visited Paris. In Greece, I was a few days. So they asked me to give a lecture. I lectured and another monk translated into French. There I found a reminiscences of Swamiji by Bodhananda, which was with Swami Siddheswarananda, who was the head of the Swami of that center, died in 58 or 59. He said that one day Swamiji had a desire to worship in Belur, in the shrine. Swamiji went to the shrine, and other monks wanted to see how Swamiji worships Sri Ramakrishna. So Swamiji sat and meditated for long hours. Then he got up and took the tray of flowers and put one flower on the head of each disciple. And then the remaining flowers he offered to Sri Ramakrishna. That was his worship. Then Swami Bodhanandaji explained to the monks, generally we offer flowers first to Sri Ramakrishna, then we may put flowers to others, give flowers to others. But Swamiji did something opposite. Then he explained, Swamiji saw that Sri Ramakrishna dwells in the hearts of each person, in each of his disciples. So he worships Sri Ramakrishna in human bodies first, and then he worships Sri Ramakrishna in the altar, on the altar. That is a beautiful way we can think that how Sri Ramakrishna, Swamiji demonstrated how to worship the living God. Worship the living God. Love them and serve them. That I think I told you another story of Swami Bodhananda. The day Swamiji passed away, 4th of July, 1902, Bodhananda was cooking for Swamiji's dinner. Swamiji went for a walk, came back, and had a cup of tea under the mango tree on the Belur Math courtyard. Then the Vespar started. It was July. Generally, Vespar starts around about 6:45 to 7. The sunset is late in summer. So Swamiji was going to his room, and Swami Bodhananda followed him. Swamiji's room was upstairs. He entered inside, and he got up to second steps. And then he told Swami Bodhananda, how much money do I have in my wallet? Swamiji, maybe 4 or 5 rupees. You know, the other day I went to a monk's room and found his mosquito curtain was torn. Buy a mosquito curtain for that monks with that money. Otherwise he would be bitten by that mosquito and he will get malaria. That story I found in one of the magazines of Bodhananda, published in 1933-34. Name of the magazine was Vedanta Darpan, the mirror of Vedanta. That story really inspired me. Here is a person who is going to die within 2 hours. It was 7 o'clock, Swamiji died at 9:10. Within 2 hours this man is going to die. And he is thinking of a mosquito curtain of a monk. What a great heart Swamiji had. People say he was born with the heart of Buddha and the intellect of Shankara. That incident I shall never forget. Whenever I go to Belur Math, I touch that step. Always I touch that step. I bow down to that step where Swamiji stood. Then I shall tell you a few stories of Swami Akhandananda, recorded by Swami Apurvananda. Apurvananda, I knew him very well. He was the head of the Advaita Ashrama in Banaras. Maharaj was very fond of me. He was an attendant of Mahapurush Maharaj. He was an attendant of Swami Vijnananandaji, and also sometimes to Swami Akhandanandaji. Akhandanandaji did not live in Belur Math, he lived in Murshidabad. Swami Chetanananda was not well. That is a very poor center, orphanage. So he was asked to come to Calcutta for treatment. He stayed in a rich devotee's house. So when he came to see Swami Shivananda in Belur Math, Shivananda says, "Brother, you are staying in a rich home and you have forgotten us." Akhandananda says, "Maharaj, Dada, my brother, my health is really bad. I came for treatment, and these people, devotees, are arranging all my diet. Our monastery is so poor, cannot afford to buy that kind of diet and food. So I am staying there." Immediately Mahapurush says, "Hey, buy some good fish and some sweets and some other things and give him a nice meal." This little incident reminds me that Sri Ramakrishna tried his disciples with a code of love. How much love, respect, feeling for each other. That makes life goes. In our family life, in our monastic life, we must have that kind of feeling for each other. Then Swami Akhandanandaji, whenever he would come to Belur Math, sometimes he would stay a couple of weeks. And all monks would go to him and he would tell the stories and incidents about Sri Ramakrishna. He says, when I first went Sri Ramakrishna, I used to practice pranayama. Sri Ramakrishna told me, no, don't do pranayama, that is not for you. You practice japam and meditation, especially on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays. Those very auspicious days. You will get good results very soon. You are a Brahmin boy. You must repeat the Gayatri Mantra 3 times a day. Sri Ramakrishna's training. He found one monk was walking through the courtyard of the monastery, wooden sandal, and making noise. Swami stopped him and said, "Hey, why don't you make so much noise? Sometimes we get some rubber tire, our car tire, those who are rejected, they cut some pieces and with a nail hit it at the bottom of the wooden sandal so that when you walk it will not make any noise." I saw many of my friends had that kind of wooden sandal. I remember, do you know my shoes in Belur Math? In Advaita Ashrama? I bought a pair of sandals made from tire of the car tire. Price 4 annas. You will have to nail it. Even a thief will not steal my sandal. Sometimes in Belur Math, if it is a rain, it doesn't matter. Nobody will steal it. That is the way I used to live for many years. Now I have good sandals, good shoes. Then he found a monk was drinking water standing. Hey, no. You must sit and then drink water. Look, Sri Ramakrishna told me 2 things. Never drink water while standing. And never think in this way. Mu gale hat diye bhabbina. And sometimes, we put our hands like this. And in this way we get worries and anxieties. Please never do that. That means you have no faith in God. Sri Ramakrishna is looking after you. Why should you suffer from worries and anxieties? God will do what is good for you. have established relationship with God, with your Guru, with your chosen deity. These are the little things, as I told you, we can learn from these old sadhus. The problem came in 1936. Swami Chetanananda was the president. Bas. Do you know what happened? They wanted to publish the souvenir with president's address. So all monks went and asked, Maharaj, we need your address. No address. Ramakrishna is infinite God. No address. No, he doesn't have any birthday. This centenary, all these things are not right. He is infinite, eternal. They requested, him, he did not write. So Mary MacLeod went to Sargachi, 110 miles from Calcutta, by train, to get the message from the president. He did not give it. My message is, Sri Ramakrishna is eternal, infinite. He does not have any birthday or centenary, nothing. All those things means that you are limiting the infinite. Bas came. Then at night, Sri Ramakrishna appeared before him. Hey Ganga! His name is Gangadhar Maharaj. These people are asking a message. Why don't you give a message to them? But immediately I got up and I, an old man, I found some pen and paper with the hurricane lantern. I started to write. Master told me what to write. And that message came when the book was almost published. Anyhow, Ramakrishna's disciples are different. They had direct contact with their Guru. He mentioned that Sri Ramakrishna came and said, asked me to write the book. Sometimes we read, I think I told you that story, Swami Brahmananda collected the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. It was in Banaras. Sri Ramakrishna appeared before him and said, hey, Rakhal, that teaching you recorded, I did not say that. Maharaj got up at midnight, called his secretary and said, hey, bring the manuscript. Cut that one. Thakur came and told me he did not say that. Then he remembered. I learned that story from a Gujarati monk. From a Gujarati monk I heard that story that due to my forgetfulness I incorporated in Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. What was that story? A holy man was bathing in the river and a scorpion was carried by in the water. Was carried by the water. So he rescued that scorpion and the scorpion stung this holy person. And he was in deep pain. Again the scorpion jumped into the water. Again the scorpion rescued. The holy man rescued it. After 3 times, another person asked that, this scorpion, let it die. Why are you suffering to rescue? For rescuing this poor creature. It's vicious. This creature is vicious, a scorpion. The holy man said, it is the nature of the scorpion to sting and to give pain, to poison others. And it is the nature of a holy man to rescue. And the poison cannot give up its nature, I cannot give up my nature. That is the story. He put it in Sri Ramakrishna's name. That is a fantastic story. Anyhow, that is the way we find when we read those books, how authentic they are. I give all classes on that words of the Master. Perhaps you will find in our website, it is there. Teachings of Sri Ramakrishna recorded by Swami Brahmananda. Swami Akhandananda is the first monk of the Ramakrishna, started the relief work. He started that ashrama in Sargachi. Beautiful ashrama. I went a few times. He planted so many trees, plants, flowers. He has, I think, 100 acres of land. Beautiful. Beautiful ashrama. If anybody wants to go India, visit that ashrama. Next reminiscences of Swami Akhandananda by Shashanka Bhushan Bandyopadhyay. I knew him very well. He is a brother of Swami Niramanandaji, Shashankoda. Very nice person. He was a scientist, professor. He mentioned, Durlabam Trayameva itat devanugrahetukam manusyattam mumukshuttam mahapurusha samshaya. These three things are rare in human life. Shankara says, human birth, desire for liberation, and the company of a great soul. But I have a great advantage to have the company of Swami Akhandananda. He wrote his reminiscences. But in 1936, I was studying MSc. So I went and to Udbodhan and met Rajbihari Maharaj, Swami Arupananda, mother's disciples and mother's attendant. Arupananda, he was this Shashankada was a student. So Rajbihari Maharaj told him, hey, have your initiation from Swami Akhandananda. Well, I was hesitant. Then Swami said, don't you understand the inverse square law? But yes, I know. How do you know? But I know it from your teacher. Then Swami explained, Sri Ramakrishna's moto punjibito adhyatmik shaktir abhirbhav yuga sandikha nahi hoy. The spiritual dynamo was created by Sri Ramakrishna in this age. It is a rare occasion. And that blazing fire is then on. You light your own lamp from that blazing lamp, blazing fire, and illumine yourself. These disciples of Ramakrishna will not live long. I'm talking about 1936. Swami Akhandananda died in 37, Vigyanananda died in 39, 38, and Abhedananda died in 1939. These three disciples are left at that time. And this Swami Akhandananda was then president. So this Swami Arupananda forced him to go to Sargachi, 110 miles from Calcutta, to have initiation. And his elder brother, Swami Niramananda, he was a very learned monk. He was an editor of Udbodhan, president of Udbodhan. I knew him very well. He was very fond of me. And this Shashankoda went and got initiation from Maharaj. Very nice. He was a bachelor, very good person. He initiated, selected his chosen deity, then taught him how to meditate in the heart, on the head. Know for certain the goal of human life is to realize God. God, Ishto, your chosen deity, your Guru are one. On that day, Swami Sarvagatananda also initiated. Both Swami Sarvagatananda was then a brahmachari, went with Shashanko Bandhavadhyaya to Sargasi. Sarvagatananda is a story I told you many times. He was the head of the Vedanta Society of Boston and Provisions for many, many years. And I went with my rosary. I told Maharaj, please sanctify my rosary. Maharaj sanctified and told me, job ke, let me, নিত্য জপ করবে, একদিনের জন্য জপ বাদ না হয়, মালা যেন উপসী না থাকে। You must repeat mantram with this rosary every day. And rosary always should be fed. You see, this is the Indian tradition. Suppose you are sick, your rosary may be in a small container, and generally they keep rosary in a small container under the pillow. So when you are sick, take it and repeat the mantra while lying down. Every day you must feed your rosary. That is the rule. You know, this kind of spiritual connection comes from the tradition. These are the custom. Then he told him, you take responsibility of your parents so that your elder brother could be a monk. Whatever you order, Maharaj, I shall do it. So Swami became a monk, and he remained monk with white cloth, never married. Very good person. Up to this today. We do not get all a big powerful message every day, but these little incidents, episodes of other spiritual seekers help us. We learn so many traditions, so many peoples. We learn spiritual things from many, many people. That is the way I always say, that you have two types of guru, Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru. Diksha Guru means the guru who gave you mantra. That is vital and prominent, that you must hold it all through your life. But Shiksha Guru, the guru who give you teachings, various aspects of your life, about your spiritual life, every life. The Shiksha Guru could be many. Think of that from your kindergarten to the university, how many hundreds and hundreds of gurus, teachers you had. You learned from each one of them. Nowadays, perhaps you don't remember all of them. Similarly, learn from all. And enrich yourself. Sri Ramakrishna says, as long as I live, so long do I learn. The person who says, I have nothing to learn, he is dead, Swamiji said. These monks, the stories which I told you today, there are so many things we can learn. Most people do not have good background. But these monks demonstrated what is called the spiritual life. Thank you very much. Now we shall go to Zoom. Please give us a few minutes time. And next Sunday our topic will be adventures in spiritual life. And you will see in our website, vedantastl.org, you will find our program is there. Thank you. Matma me shuddhantam jyotiraham viraja vipapma bhuyasam Antaratma me shuddhantam jyotiraham viraja vipappa bhuyasam. Paramatma me shuddhantam jyotiraham viraja vipappa bhuyasam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May my body become pure. May I be free from impurities and ignorance. May I realize myself like light divine. May my mind become pure. May I be free from impurities and ignorance. May I realize myself as the light divine. May my soul become pure. May I be free from impurities and ignorance. May I realize myself as the light divine. Om, peace, peace, peace be unto all. Please give us a little time.